playback live on Facebook. So, we used to have the kids actually stand here with the video cameras, but now it's done through a remote system. So everything is being videotaped and recorded.
My grandchildren from out of state call me and comment on this. They're probably listening to me right now, critiquing what I say and do.
Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you for attending tonight's Superintendent's Information Meeting of the Penn Trafford School Board for Monday, April 3rd, 2017. Please rise and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll start this evening with special reports. IU number 7, Mr. Leonard.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. President. The meeting was held March 28th at 7 p.m. at the Intermediate Unit Headquarters. 12 members of the board were present, 5 absent. Quorum was okay. We handled the standard financial approvals such as bills, accounts payable, treasurer's reports, ratified investment reports. And a point of interest on the executive director's report is the capital needs and improvement plan is under review right now. It's still in early stages and may be requesting some additional funding from the districts, ours being one of them. That's still under study, and that's all I have for that, Mr. President.
Well, thank you, Mr. Leonard. Career Tech, Mr. Petrucci.
Thank you, Mr. Kachasik. Mr. President, sorry, Mr. Acting President, sorry about that. Okay. Our meeting was on March 15th. Our next meeting is going to be April 19th. The first issue we discussed was Habitat for Humanity, 3 Norman girls. They raised money and go in different Home Depot, Lowe's, etc. They got labor organized. They restored 3 houses, 1 in Jeanette and 2 in Greensburg, and they got special recognition. Now they're going to go to Hershey in April for state competition for what they completed on. Next year's preliminary enrollment is approximately 1,100 students. The number 1 class is automotive technology. In enrollment, number 2 is health occupation. Number 3 is cosmetology. And this is interesting to me. This came from the PAC group, the superintendents. They said that the seniors who have met all the requirements at their home schools, they want to start an exploratory trades class that they can come to Career Technology Center. They can come there and they can sit in this class and they can have a little bit of plumbing, a little bit of electrical work, a little bit of carpentry, anything they like. If they find an area they like, then they can go into class as a sophomore student the first year, but instead of sitting in their home schools doing study hall work. So they're thinking about starting it. Was you aware of that, Dr. Harris?
Yeah, on that committee.
Yeah, and I think it's a great idea for kids just want to, if they want to explore, if they have any interest in any kind of career tech. And we have 23 shops there, and if there's any kids that would possibly be interested, it's kids have 2 or 3 study halls a day. They could organize and try to schedule and still try to go to this. And final discussion on a Christmas outing. We now decided to still be the 2nd Wednesday in December, and we now extend an additional 5 invitations. It'll be 9 board members, a superintendent, and the superintendent will be allowed to invite any 5 people in his school district who help out career tech students. It could be a guidance counselor, it could be a principal, it could be assistant superintendent to increase the enrollment for these kids to do all the hard work. So that's definitely
Nice idea. Thank you.
and that's finally been approved. And our goodie report: pepperoni rolls with dipping sauce, broccoli salad, peanut butter oatmeal cookies, chocolate chip cookies, fruit croutons, iced cinnamon buns, and assorted beverages. The kids did a great job. That's all I have,
Thank you, Mr.
Mr.
Petrucci.
Acting President.
All right, prior to tonight's meeting, the Board of School Directors convened for an executive session. And we received information regarding personnel litigation and confidential matters. We also met and received information regarding technology initiatives, workforce development proposal, and textbooks. Dr. Harris, information.
Sure. Before we get to the Students of the Month, we have just a couple different announcements. First of all, the Trafford auction, I received a thank you note were very supportive. And how much did your auction raise this year for playgrounds?
$8,600. But I want to say the school district for decades now has been excellent. And one of our regulars is one of my good buddies down there, Mr. Leonard, and he brings his grandchildren, and his daughter, she gets into it pretty good. It's she watches and
No, she knows that
And she-
Pap and Grandpap's paying the bills, so
yeah.
like,
And,
whatever you want.
I said, you got room in your truck? I said, she says, I may have to walk home. She said, I says, okay, but no.
She
but
jammed it.
I want
It's
to
great
thank.
prices.
Oh yeah, there's some great buys.
You can't beat the auctions or even the garage sales.
Yeah, there's some great buys, but thank you again, the school district and Mr. Bracco and Mr. Sullivan, Mrs. Napoli, very cooperative people, very cooperative. Works out real nice, and the community, volunteers, older people, young people, just really nice.
And I just ran off some of these flyers for the second announcement. The student union at the high school is actually having a community movie night, which I thought was an interesting idea, and we're going to be sending this out on the Take-Home Tuesdays and information for that. It's April 29th, and they're showing the two movies, Moana and
Fantastic Beasts. and
Fantastic Beasts. Believe it or not, I couldn't read that off that little space on there. So I'm really getting bad with these classes.
If I can add something to this, I don't mean to do it, but it's at the stadium at nighttime, correct?
At the stadium at night, starting at 6 o'clock.
And we used to have the, P-Tark had the movies at the park, okay, in summertime. And I see right here, no food or drinks, blankets are encouraged, right? But think about it, somebody wants to open up the concession stand, if you.
Well, they are going to have the local community business there for food.
Oh, okay, then.
So they will be
Okay,
selling
all right.
some different
But they, you can make a few, not a lot of money, but you can make a few bucks, hot dogs, et cetera. And they participate. This is a fun
Entry
time.
is for free, and we actually did buy the license for the movies, because if you
Yeah.
show it at an outside venue, you
Yes,
have to have the license. and
That's why we
did.
had to stop. We had to pay for that.
We
That's
did
true.
purchase that.
They're not
which is-
free anymore.
No, it's more money when it's outside versus inside,
Yeah.
which I thought was unusual. Well,
Always something.
every time they turn around, you have to pay something. If you haven't had a chance last week to see Legally Blonde, you're in luck. We have three more showings this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We had about, they told me, 1,800 tickets already for the first 3 nights were sold. It was a nice packed house almost every day. I wasn't up there Sunday, so I wasn't sure how many showed up on Sunday.
It was a pretty good crowd Sunday, I was there.
It was a good crowd Sunday.
Very good crowd.
Show is excellent.
They did an outstanding job. The sets, the props, the costumes, and of course the the kids. I mean, they were just amazing. And what I really liked, it was a constant flow. Sometimes when you see musicals or high school plays, between scenes, you're kind of waiting, and then as the kids get ready, something comes off stage, on stage. There was nothing like that. It was all a great, smooth flow. It was nice timing. It kept your attention the whole entire time. The kids were just amazing. So the lighting and the special bonus at the end, which I won't tell in case you haven't seen it yet. So, and of course, there are some dogs. So if you get a chance, please go visit it this weekend. We had our 339 presentation at the WIU on Friday. And Greg, do you want to just kind of give a half a 30-second take on what the 339 is?
It's from kindergarten till grade 12, and revolves around being one of the two of our goals for employment. So we're looking at students going out for internships and some type of work-based types of activities. So that's in a nutshell. But they'll be, like I said, we're starting K to 12 in the classroom education, and then what the teachers already do, there's standards that we have to meet that are already in place. And so we're just trying to capitalize on that, try to do with the workforce.
And then once we had our plan approved by the committee, then we had to get a board approved. So that kind of ties it into, you'll be seeing that next week with the board approval. The fifth thing is kind of an interesting statement. I got this from Lisa Popovich today. One of our students who was at our family outing this past weekend, the grandfather collapsed, and everyone in panic because no one really knew what to do. She was actually in a rural community. The student actually got down because she took a CPR class at the Penn Trafford High School, and actually she got him breathing and stable until the paramedics came, and he's actually recovering right now at the hospital. So they credited that the CPR kept him going and saved his life. So it was very nice that happened, and it was also a blessing that we can say that, PT provided the training for it. So it was kind of nice, good story to hear. I was very proud of that when I heard it today. Two other things. Oh, in case we had some calls about the pool water on Saturday. I guess the kids said it was too cold. We did fix the issue, so I do apologize to anybody who was at the pool on Saturday. Evidently, it was very cold, and the kids ended up with blue lips. So we don't want that to happen. And the letters, some people have been asking at the Warrior press box, we had some letters blown off during the last wind. So we actually ended up, because it's too hard to replace them because they're no longer looking the same, so they just removed them all, and we're going to eventually put them back on when they're all together, the lettering. So got calls on that too. So I just wanted to share that with you. And now for the favorite part of the meeting, it's the Students of the Month. And we're going to start off with Mr. DiNapoli.
Okay.
You represent
Thank you, Dr.
both
Harris.
elementaries?
Yes, we'll start with Level Green Elementary first. Levi, come on up. Levi, you can get right here in the middle, my man. Okay. Gives me great pleasure to introduce Levi Smale. Levi is a third grade student at Level Green Elementary. He is the son of Sean Smale and Tracy Tognerina of Level Green, who are here with us. He's also the younger brother to Anthony and Sean and Lexi and Lacey. Lexi and Lacey are here with us as well, and also Heather. Talking with Levi, I asked, first question I usually ask the kids, about their different things going on at home and any pets. And Levi says that he has some goats, some chickens, and dogs. And I said, you actually have your own little miniature farm at the house. I asked if the goats stay in the house, and he said no, just the dogs. In his free time, Levi enjoys playing baseball and hanging out with his friends, but most importantly, he loves being around his family. During school, Levi enjoys all of his classes. He doesn't have one particular favorite subject. He tells me he likes learning about many different things. Mrs. Feathers, his homeroom teacher and reading teacher, states Levi is very talented, intelligent, hardworking, and dedicated third grade student. Levi stands apart from many of his peers with his mature demeanor and attitude. As a third, fourth, and fifth grade reading teacher, I see a lot of students each day. Levi stands apart from a majority of those students. He always puts his best foot forward, cares about his peers, and takes genuine interest in school. Levi is the perfect nomination for Student of the Month and deserves this recognition for all of his hard work inside and outside of the classroom. Mr. Rainier, his social studies teacher, states in social studies class, Levi is an extremely hard worker, good teammate, and courteous student. He's well respected by his classmates and shows respect to many others. And finally, Mr. Giovannitti states Levi achieves outstanding scores on all of his tests in math, but more importantly than that, he is always offering help and support to others. Obviously, Levi, you could tell this is a little pattern that you have here, and that's a good trait to have. He offers it without being asked to do so. Levi is a quite polite young man. He has been a real pleasure having Levi as a student this year. Levi, Level Green is excited and proud to have you in our school, and congratulations on being the Elementary Student of the Month. Congratulations on being Level Green Elementary Student of the Month. And you have a great things in the future. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Excuse me real quick, you the ones that have the chickens right across the community building?
That's not us. We have to.
All right, good job, Levi. Next, from Trafford Elementary, we will have Bella Steimer. Bella, come on up. Gives me also great pleasure to introduce Bella Steimer. Bella is a fifth grade student at Trafford Elementary. She is the daughter of Brad and Shelley Steimer, who are here with us, and the older sister to Myron. Myron is a first grade student, back there with his headphones on, at Trafford Elementary. Bella enjoys spending time playing softball, drawing, cooking, and baking cookies and cupcakes with her mother. During school, Bella works very hard in all areas. Her teachers state Bella is a hardworking student who constantly turns in high-quality work. She is a positive role model in the classroom and is kind to everyone. Bella is a very well-rounded student who always goes the extra mile to ensure her success and that of others. She has constantly shown that she is willing to go above and beyond in her efforts to progress. She sets goals for herself and then works hard to meet her goals. She's a kind, hardworking, and compassionate student who is always willing to be helpful. For all these reasons, her academic effort, her enthusiasm about learning, and her positive engagement in her school community, we are very happy to have Bella in our school. Future plans for Bella include working with animals. She loves all animals and has always enjoyed being around them and helping the most that she can. And maybe a veterinarian might be in the works. Keep working hard in everything you do, Bella, and your plans will come true. Bella is saying goodbye to Trafford Elementary at the end of this school year. She is sad that her elementary career is coming to an end, but is excited for her new adventure as she heads to Trafford Middle School. Bella Steimer, best of luck as you move forward, and congratulations on being the Student of the Month.
Congratulations on being named the Trafford Elementary Student of the Month. Congratulations.
And Dan, what's going on at Trafford Elementary and Level Green Elementary?
Well, today's the first day of the PSSA test or something like
I
that.
heard something about this.
Yeah, so, everyone's excited. The kids came in today, ready to go. We started our testing today. So basically the month of April, that's what we'll be focusing on. We have, all the field trips are set up. They're starting this week for grades K to 4 throughout all the schools. We have our science fair coming up at Level Green. We have, I'm trying to think what else we have going on there. I tell you what, Dr. Harris, with that test going on right now, everything's kind of, that's the main.
I heard the roof company came after school today for the first day.
So Saturday morning,
Oh, Saturday
the
morning.
roof, something woke me up, and all the crane, there was about an 80-foot crane out in the back, putting everything up on the roof. They're out there tonight working. They got the lights going. So they're moving pretty good.
Level Green's getting a new roof, and it's all being done after school hours.
Yes.
Because it's a very much of a distraction. Probably the neighbors who were listening to it all night long could tell us now, I guess.
Yeah.
We're getting Trafford done this summer, right? I didn't realize that.
And Trafford's the
Right,
same.
Trafford is starting shortly. Yeah.
Okay. All right, for our middle school representative, Mr. Sullivan from Trafford Middle.
Thanks, Dr. Harris. I want to introduce Silas Costio. Silas, come on up. Silas is an 8th grade student at Trafford Middle School, and he's the son of Aaron and Scott Costio. We also have Grandma in the audience and little sister Savannah, right? She's excited to come to Trafford Middle School next year, too. So Silas is an excellent student. He's a high honor roll student, taking all of the advanced classes possible at Trafford Middle School. He's earned straight A's in every class this entire year. He especially told me that he enjoys math and science, right? Outside of his studies, Silas participates in football, basketball, and this year track for Trafford Middle School. He also participates in those sports programs in the community and rec programs. Quite honestly, Silas told me that he's sort of a sports nut, right? In the community, Silas has participated in St. Regis Youth Group. He has helped with Meals on Wheels, has participated in Presents for Patients at Christmas time. When not helping out his community or studying, he said he enjoys hanging out with his friends, particularly at the park, but then again, some kind of type of sporting activity usually breaks out, right? He enjoys reading and listening to music. I asked him what he wanted to do after high school, and without question, he said he's going to the Navy to follow in his brother's footsteps. his teachers said this about him. This is the same teacher who has him in homeroom and in class, so he probably knows who it is. I have found Silas to be a most pleasant young man. He is always polite and appropriate. He is friendly and respectful to all, and at the same time, he is a typical middle school boy who enjoys a good joke and the interaction with his friends. He is a leader among his friends in homeroom. He's not a follower. He arrives in homeroom, sets out what he needs to get done, and works on that with focus and manages to assist or work with others as well. He is clearly an influence on some of his fellow classmates. And in class, I found Silas to be on top of his work. He processes material quickly and thoroughly and makes deep connections between concepts. He is tops in his class, but very humble about it. He's certainly competitive, but strives for his own excellence in understanding rather than to beat someone else. He questions and demonstrates deeper thought than most eighth graders demonstrate. Silas's caliber are uncommon. Another teacher says Silas has been either the highest scoring male student each 9 weeks or has been tied for the highest. He is more than a high scorer in class, though. He's a natural leader. His leadership is neither demanding nor is it braggadocious. He simply leads by example. His quiet, respectful demeanor is very refreshing. His success is evident to other students in a class, and especially the other male students who often look to him for cues in various situations. Silas has been a pleasure to have in class. You know, when I met with him and interviewed him, and first of all congratulated him, he was excited, and he said, "Wow," he said, "I never thought I'd be eligible for this because my dad's on the school board." And I noted that because, you know, he thought that he would not be eligible, but he earned it, and he still did the right thing. He's still focused, still strives and puts forth effort, even thinking that he might not be eligible for this award. It shows very big character. Silas, congratulations. We're proud of you.
Thank you.
Roger, what's going on at the middle school? Anything happen?
Yeah, we didn't quite start that test yet, but we start tomorrow. PSSA is tomorrow, so yeah, that's the main focus. But recently, we took our 7th grade to the Career Center in Newstead. It was a great visit. So our entire 7th grade got to visit and tour. Had a lot of positive feedback from students who enjoyed the trip and thanked me.
We actually had, for next year, we have 10 more students than this year sign up for the VOTEC. So I think it's a lot of the pushing that's going on at the middle school and the advertising.
That's good.
Getting the word out there to the kids about a different alternative.
And the staff that went along with us to supervise, you know, they were thoroughly impressed as well. It was a good visit by all. Friday night, we had our spring fling. We had, so it's a dance at Trafford Middle School, very traditional every year, and we had a good turnout, about 80 students, and they had a great time. Just the week before last, we had Shrek Jr., our musical, very well attended. Kids did an
I heard
awesome
it was
job.
filled all 3 nights.
Filled.
Outstanding.
Yeah, it was excellent. Mrs. Ruoff does an excellent job with that, and her staff and crew, but the kids.
I saw the school performance. It was great.
Great performance. We had a wonderful assembly, Feel the Power, from John Pritikin came in and spoke with our students. It was very moving, emotional, and very powerful to our kids, for sure. And last week, we, our students and a few staff members came to me. We had a Pink Week. One of our staff members, unfortunately, was diagnosed with breast cancer, and they wanted to do something special for her. It was all a surprise, and they wanted to do it to raise some funds. They're going to present her with some gift cards and special gifts. So it's a good week.
Thank you. All right. And finally, our high school, Mr. Cap.
Thank you, Dr. Harris. I'd like to introduce Jordan James. Come on up, Jordan James. like to introduce Jordan James as High School Student of the Month. He is accompanied by his mother and father in the back there. Jordan was highly recommended by his teachers. I had no problem picking Student of the Month this month for some of the things he has done in school and out of school, which I will speak about. But I spoke with his teachers, and they had great points to talk about him, and I will go through a few of them. Mr. Flynn, he stated, as a teacher, there are some students you know you will remember for many years to come. Jordan James is one of those students. I don't know what my first period class would have been like without him. He has a spirit and a charm about him that sets the tone for his class. He's respectful and mature while maintaining a levity and lightheartedness that has an impact on those around him. He's a leader in my class and has shown incredible growth during the year. His enthusiasm for whatever he is doing is apparent. He has been a joy to teach. Mr. Shula has stated Jordan James would be referred to as a neat kid. He exudes exuberance and is obvious inside the classroom and out. His curiosity is boundless, which is mirrored by his kindness toward others and his positive attitude toward each day. Although he nurtures positive and healthy relationships, he is not a people pleaser. He stands his ground and maintains his own personal ethics in his interactions. He is an unusual student because he is not obsessed with grades, and he values learning, and the true goal is education. He is a bright spot in my day, and his energy and excitement makes being a teacher a privilege. Mrs. Arzeni stated, Jordan is a pleasure to have in health class. He was very respectful and kind to others and had a wonderful sense of humor. He would ask questions to keep the class and discussions engaging. Mr. Rosardi stated, it is a pleasure to have Jordan in class. He always arrives with a pleasurable personality and a positive attitude towards the class. He always gives his best effort and is not afraid to ask questions when he does not understand the material. Not only is he very respectful to me at all times, but he treats his peers with the same respect. Jordan is very patient, working with his fellow students and willing to take the leadership role in order to help them understand the material. And finally, Mr. Lynn, Jordan James displays a variety of skills, talents, and qualities that truly represent him as Student of the Month. He has always demonstrated a strong work ethic in anything he is involved in, as well as upholding the high moral character inside and outside the classroom. I was fortunate to have Jordan in global studies. He was a role model to his classmates and always willing to help others. I'm not sure if any of you know, but Jordan was one of 6 young Marines to escort World War II vets to Iwo Jima, I believe a couple weeks ago. He was on a 7-day trip to Guam and Iwo Jima in recognition, him being named one of the 6 divisional winners of the Young Marines Award. He advanced through 4 levels to achieve this divisional honor and is now a candidate for National Young Marine of the Year. And he hopes to enter the Marine Corps after graduating from high school in 2018. He has also been a Young Marine since he's been 8 years old. I'd like to congratulate Jordan James as being Penn Trafford High School Student of the Month.
We're actually going to take some photos with the press, so the Student of the Month winners can please come over here.
Make sure you smell nice, will you?
Look sharp.
All 4.
Scott.
Where'd Savannah go? She snuck out. You told me she was here. She was. She just walked back in. Oh, there she is.
So she snuck out as soon as Simon sat back down.
Okay. I think that tells you how long it's been since I've seen her, because she's grown a bit too. Used to see her sometime at church. Fine, thank you.
She's an athlete. She'll find something else on Saturday.
Scott, boy, look real good. Real
Thanks,
good.
Nick. I appreciate it. He's a good kid.
Hey, Cap, did you have anything to share from the high school?
right.
Mr. Cap, did you have anything to share from the high school? Because I kind of cut you off to get the kids.
I do. There was just a few things. 2 weeks ago, we had a dance-a-thon. Started at 10 o'clock at night and went till 5 o'clock in the morning. So it was a long night for Mr. Quilio and I, but the students loved it. They raised over $4,000. It's one of the senior projects, kind of like the flyer that you received. So the dance-a-thon, they collected over $4,000. We also had a can drive in the room you were in earlier tonight. We got rid of over 10,000 cans. It was all from the students, and it all stays local. And 10,000 cans, that's a high number. It's very impressive. The students packed it all up. They were involved throughout the whole process, and luckily we got rid of them all today. They were taking up a lot of room in there. We're gearing up for Keystones. That's coming up, so the tutoring and the remediation has started, and we're starting. We started really hitting it this week, meeting with students that did not pass it or came close, let them know what scores they had to pump them up a little bit so they can pass the Keystone. First Friday in May, as always, is the prom. So the students, it's interesting to see all the students asking, others to prom and how they try to get administrators involved in that process.
Did you see the promposal at the musical?
I saw
on,
lots of them.
Friday night?
So the prom's coming up. That's a big night. It's right around the corner. Also, I'm sure you know about the Chromebook handbook. We're already preparing for next year already, and figuring out how we're going to roll out the Chromebooks and the one-to-one initiative for next year. And this summer, we're already getting ready for the PT Academy this summer, and the students signing up. So we're already looking forward to next year already. And it's
Thanks for adding
2
that
more
SAC
months.
class, too. I
Yeah.
saw the advertisements I sent out to the board from the SATs.
Yeah. So it's we'll see how many sign up for it. I think it's very beneficial. I hope the students take advantage of it.
I hope so, too.
Where's the prom at?
Strategos every year since I've been here. I don't know. Scott, since you've been here.
Strategos, we used to be at Lakeview once or twice.
Okay.
We had Greensburg, Sheraton, but Strategos for at least 10 years.
Yeah, food's great. I could run the whole wide dessert bar down to you. Phenomenal, right, Scott?
Chocolate fountain.
Chocolate fountain, fondue, top of the line. Please come if you're interested.
It was at Lakeview whenever I went to school here.
Thank you.
You talk about an antique,
Yeah.
there you go.
Thanks. You got it. All right, and next up, after student of the months, Mr. Trent Soames, our student union representative.
Where's Trent?
He's here.
Yeah, it's
That's not Trent.
He's here.
Yeah.
They get a haircut.
I did get a haircut. Yeah, it's a little bit of a change. I don't have much to report. Besides, we did have a meeting about the Student Bill of Rights with Mr. Aquilio. The solicitor's copy, we weren't too happy about that. It struck everything except for one right. So we went back to the drawing table with Mr. Aquilio, and we're working to continue on making something that's both acceptable to the school and something that we believe in. So we'll continue to work with him. We'll probably have a meeting next week about the future of the Student Bill of Rights, and we'll continue working with him. Are there any questions? All right, great. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Trent. Penn Trafford Community Ed Foundation, a couple different things going on. April 19th, we had to move the meeting to, because we had 3 different members not, we were supposed to meet this week and not be able to participate. But our next project is we have $25,000 for award. We did teacher grants. 48 of our teachers wrote 37 grants, because some teachers were in teams. So we have to decide from the 37 grants which ones we should award. If we gave out all the money from the 37 grants, it would be $64,000, but we only have $25,000 to give, so there has to be some cuts there. And it's kind of funny because you have to go from who gets what, and is it a need or is it a want? But 2 good news is, 2 good pieces of news that came in this week. EITC money, S&T Bank just gave us $5,400. And we just got a grant for our lights from Scott Electric for $5,000. And I'd like to thank Chuck Conkus, one of our commissioners. He actually gave me the grant information and helped encourage me to write it. So I really do appreciate that, because it's going to go towards that. That $5,000 actually comes back to the school for lights. They had to go through the foundation, so that actually comes back to the school district. So I do appreciate that. And that's all I have for information.
Thank you, Dr. Harris. The extracurricular, athletics and extracurricular?
Comes right back to me. All right, next week, under athletics and extracurricular, we're going to ask you to accept resignations, employee personnel. Under budget and finance, we're going to ask you to award WIU's 7 bids as recommended by the WIU Joint Purchasing Consortium. Under buildings, grounds, and safety, we're going to ask you to award bids for the summer projects. And I do have some, we did pass them out earlier to you at executive, so you can see. I had a list with me. Did anyone bring their list
You know
over?
what? It was in your pile. I got it with mine and
Wait a minute. See, look, Matt, you looking for this?
Yeah, our list. If you can get out your list, and,
Pass that down.
sorry.
all right, thank you. I had my 10 in order. Second. But for Penn Middle, we're going to be taking care of stage curtains, patching some of the asphalt, sealing and lot stripping. We are going to be doing the stage lighting and stage sound system to make improvements there. Those are the only 2 items we still need quotes on. We're doing a boiler replacement. It's $331,550. At Trafford, we're doing the new roof, as well as stage curtains, asphalt patching, sealing and lot stripping. We're still getting a quote for stage lighting, but we're going to do that. Stage sound systems, we're going to do that. The school hall tile, office and carpeting, that's going to be $65,000. We are replacing their boiler as well. That's $404,000. We're taking care of the exterior door and frames for $122,000. Gas house improvement, $11,775. And I know they're also getting the price for the awning, and then I left that off today for it as well. They wanted an awning from the elementary school to the parking lot. At Sunrise, they got the roof last year, but they're still going to get asphalt patching as well as lot sealing. At Harrison Park, they're doing taking care of the lot, but I know they're on hold for future roof purchases. For McCullough, we're doing some lot stripping and sealing, as well as they are getting school hall tile and office carpeting, which is much needed at McCullough, because I think it's been there since the dawn of time. I don't know how long it's been there, but it's long overdue. Lover Green, as you know, they got the roof, and that was $721,000. But we're also doing some asphalt patching, sealing, and lot stripping, and they're also getting new carpeting this year. At the Warrior Stadium, we have to do the parking lot and asphalt patching. We're doing that basically at all the different schools and areas. And at the admin building, we're basically getting the patching of our parking lot as well. We don't need too much of the admin building. So different things, different projects. Thanks to all the people on our building committee, Rich and Dallas, and thanks for Jim Bracco and everything we're doing, and thanks for the board approving the bond last year. That 1.4 bond that we generated is going to be close to $6 million, which has enabled us to get all these things done. So this is just the first chunk. The next 2 summers, we'll be spending the rest of the money on that. Does anyone have any questions, or? No, I read this quick, kind of fast for everyone. All right. We're going to also ask you to employ personnel for buildings, grounds, and safety. For employee relations, negotiations, transportations, we're going to ask you to award a contract for the district transportation. We're going to ask you to award it to First Students. We only had 2 people bid, First Student and STA, and over the 5 years cost proposals, First Student came in at $204,553 lower than the other company. So that's kind of where we're heading towards, and that's the reason why we're choosing First Student. We won't have anything under food service. Under personnel and curriculum, we're going to ask you to approve substitute teachers and support personnel. Authorize Act 80 days for 2017 and 18. Approve conference requests. Approve textbook purchases, and that we have all the different textbooks up here that we are going to be approving. I think, Mr. Leonard, do you still have business law? We actually have business law, thank you. Our German textbook for German 1. We have AP World History. I don't think I want to take this class. Trent, you take this class? Look at the size of this book. AP World History. Civics and Government. Thank you. AP US History, another big book for the AP class. Accounting 1 and 2. Do you have that down there, Mr. Leonard?
No, sir, just business and personal law.
Basically, it's all online for what they're upgrading, and they're also going to do the AP Common Culture. This is the old version. They're just going into the 7th edition. That's the only change that's going to be taking place. So, and everything we do in the textbook purchase, we have a cycle of every 7 years, we change it. That way, we're not spending so much money per year. And this was the year that we have some of these books. We should have some more in May and June. Yes. Yes, because we want to also do some classes are still, some are still doing textbooks, but a lot of them are, even though we have a textbook, they want to do the ebook version. So it all depends on the class, of course. That's a good point. What would you prefer as a student? Actually have one. Believe it or not, saving money when we do ebooks. For example, if this book costs $70, they would probably give you a 7-year license at $10 each year. So they end up still getting about the same price. Because that's what I always thought too when we first did let's save a lot of money and let's go to ebooks. The license, they usually try to equal out the price of buying a textbook. But you're right, some people like the ebooks and some people still prefer just to actually have a hardback in front of them. It all depends on your preference. That's a good point. We're going to also ask you to approve winter color guard trips, accept some resignations, approve a leave request, approve an early graduation request, but this is actually for the 2017-18 school year. They just want to really get it in ahead of time, which I appreciate. Approve student, teacher, and intern assignments. Under Policy, Public Relations, Legislative Title II, we're going to ask you to accept and file Information Committee meeting minutes for March 6, 2017. We're going to ask you to approve the SAP agreement for 17-18, and changing over the way we did it last year by having the one liaison, Mr. Garcia, that really worked, and I think it improved our SAP team. I don't know if you would agree or...
With that.
Definitely. And that is one of our board goals, so I'm glad that we are actually staying with that. Final approval for board policy and admin regulations, and we're going to ask you to tentatively approve our revised board policy for policy 810, and that deals with our audio on bus, because currently right now we just use the video, but actually we are going to use audio and video for the bus. So we have to actually approve it. A couple things we have to follow. We have to include it in the student handbook. We actually have to post it on the bus, and we actually have to put it on our website. There's a couple different things to advertise as though people are aware that they are being now audio taped on the bus. Finally, next week for taxes and census, insurance and census, we are going to ask you to approve an application for a tax exempt under the LERTA. If you remember in 2013, we met with the township and we actually approved a LERTA tax to get new businesses to come to the area. We do have a company that wants to take advantage of that, and that's Weaver Industries or Weaver, I might get the wrong name.
Weaver Investments.
Weaver Investments. Thank you, Mr. Leonard, for that. And now is our time to turn it back over to Mr. Kachasik for recognition of visitors.
Well, thank you, Dr. Harris. It is now time for audience recognition. We do have 2 people signed up. The following rules are in effect. You must state your name, address, and group affiliation, if any. Your statement will be limited to 5 minutes in duration. All statements shall be directed to the president, and no participant may address or question a board member individually. I may interrupt your statement if your statement is too lengthy, personally directive, abusive, obscene, or irrelevant. First person is Ms. Jillian Garber.
Graver.
Sorry.
So I just had something really quick. I know that
Ms. Graver, could you please state where your address is, please?
It's 110 Bellawood Boulevard, Trafford. And we had a committee, a little subcommittee meeting it was the end of February, and regarding air quality issues with the new fracking going on in our community. And I wanted to see if there was any movement on that, if the information that we shared in that meeting was shared with the board, and if there were any additional questions that maybe the board had. And also to let you know that Ryan Grody was one of the individuals that we suggested could do free air monitoring at the schools, and that they are actually in town for their spring tour in PT. They're going to be here Thursday, April 3rd at Westmoreland County Community College. The meeting starts at 6:30, and they're specifically going to be talking about air quality findings that they've already found in PT. We've done some baseline air monitoring at about 27 homes in PT, and so they're going to talk about that, and they're going to talk about how those relate, air quality relates to public health. So it's going to be a really important meeting. I have flyers for everybody that I could hand to you just to give you the place and time. And then they're also going to talk about household disaster preparedness, which I think can really kind of some of the good practices that you could use at the school as well. So I'd really like to encourage folks to go to that, and also to contact Ryan, because I know that he hasn't heard from any member of that subcommittee of the school board about the air monitoring at the school. So I just wanted to find out what the status of that was and to see if there were any questions. And then my last thing, I wanted to see if you guys had considered solar panels on the new roof. I'm actually getting solar panels on my roof, and they pretty much within 3 years I'll have them paid off and I'll have free electric. So it could be something that you could do, and that was actually suggested by one of our members of Protect PT. So, but do you guys have anything to talk about with
Yeah, Ms. Graber, I wanted to thank you and members of your committee who took the time to meet with our subcommittee, and I believe that was Mr. Nemec, Ms. Ising, and Mr. Stover. Please correct me if I'm wrong. The information was provided by the subcommittee to the rest of the board members, and the information was taken into consideration. Next week, we will have a statement to read regarding the information that was presented to us.
Okay, great.
And regarding the solar panels, we'll take that under advisement.
And would you like the flyers for Thursday?
I would like to, yeah, I would like to
Okay.
have that, actually.
They put on a really great presentation. They have people on staff. They have health professionals on staff to consult with. I don't know if you guys will pass these out. This is what I have left. So they put on an amazing presentation. They analyze data and from communities who've already experienced shale gas development and match symptoms that folks have had. So it's a really great presentation that they've done.
Thank you very much for the information. Next up to speak is Ms. Christine Snyder.
Christine Snyder, 30 Concord Drive. I'm here as a concerned parent. I'm also a member of Protect PT. I just have some questions about my ongoing safety concerns relating to the 9 current approved or active well pads in the township and subsequent well pads. Who from the school district will be responsible for enforcing that no well site truck traffic is on the roads during student bus transport, and how will that be enforced? Will the gas companies be reported if they violate this condition, and to whom? Who can parents call if they notice a gas company vehicle on the road during bus hours? Will parents be notified of this condition, the reporting procedure, and of violations? I would also like to request that the school district allow educational materials on Take Home Tuesday to notify parents who don't know about the pending activity in our community and its proximity to our schools. And I would also like to know when the emergency preparedness plan will be updated to include the increase to industrial activity in our township, especially considering that well explosions and fires at similar well sites in western Pennsylvania have required miles-wide evacuation zones. I understand that some of the answers to these questions might not be available tonight, but I would like to have like a estimate of a timeline when I could have answers, please.
Ms. Snyder, can I ask you a quick question regarding these new questions you're asking? Were these brought up to the subcommittee?
Yeah,
And if-
number one, you
I'm
talked
just
about.
questioning, that's-
Okay. Number one, we already talked about that. I already contacted Charlie Hess and then the other company representative. And actually, Charlie actually called me prior to me contacting him. And we went over like the bus routes, because he wanted to make sure, like, what's the best time when all my buses are done in the morning, and then when they start up again in the afternoon.
All right, I just have some specific questions. What if they violate that condition?
They have to
Who can
contact
parents?
me. Number two and number three was also me.
Okay, so if a parent notices something, we contact you directly. Okay, so what is the procedure if they do violate that? What happens then?
I'll contact the authorities,
Okay.
Township, isn't it?
which is the township.
You had a whole list of stuff there. Was any of those, Rich, Tony, was anything else there addressed during the meeting that?
You know, as far as the safety one, aren't we working with the county as far as revising our safety plans?
We already worked with the county to revise the safety plan, and we actually had a drill where we talked about this last time. We talked about what if we had a chlorine explosion, and then we used that simulation, or use that drill for any different type of disaster in the area.
We had that on March
2nd.
March 2nd, yeah.
And we contacted some of the churches or places for evacuation plans, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
St. Barbara, which was kind of close, but.
And we also had discussed what if we can't actually leave the area because it's too unsafe to leave the building.
So the plan will be updated then?
You also had a question number 4, I can't remember what it was.
About allowing information on Take Home Tuesday, like something like that's going on Thursday. And if there's an informational session, would we be able to put something like that on Take Home Tuesday, just so parents can choose to go to a?
Talk about that before, because I know Killian called me, and I told her unfortunately we can't, because if anything is considered informational or from a different type of a group that's advertising, or we can't actually promote that on our. We can promote any type of club, sport, or activity for kids or educational opportunity. I know this is educating for parents, and I understand what you're saying, but we have a policy that we don't actually do that.
Okay.
Did you have a question 5? I think you had 6 questions.
When will the emergency preparedness plan be updated? Like when will those?
We immediately did it right after that meeting. Anything we found that we were in need to update, we actually took care of it on the spot.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Snyder. That is all this evening I have, Mr. President. Mr. President, Mr. Harris, Dr. Harris.
Thank you.
Oh, that's it. Do you have anything else, Dr. Harris?
That's all I have.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
I just want to try, on behalf of the board, we just want to say we appreciated your efforts, the time, and all the hard work you've been putting into this. So we just want to say thank you and just recognize that you've really done it. But we appreciate your effort.
That is the end of the meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? Second. Meeting adjourned.